Cher is one of the most prominent single-name musicians of all time, right up there with Prince and Madonna. She's also one of the biggest names in pop music. And as some of you probably know, Sonny Bono was the man who helped launch her career. Looking back on things, Cher holds a special place in her heart for Sonny, but is no longer the timid girl who let him lead. Keep watching to learn why Cher is suing Sonny's wife 25 years after he died. Sonny and Cher together. Sonny and Cher met in 1963. She was 16 and had dropped out of high school to pursue her musical dreams, while he was 28 and an assistant to record producer Phil Spector. Her feelings can be described as love at first sight. She said everyone else disappeared when she first saw him. Sonny was actually more interested in one of her friends at first. When she was kicked out by her roommates, they began living together at his nearby apartment. The gesture was under the condition she'd help with the chores, which she never did. The relationship didn't start as a fiery romance. It may have had more to do with her abandonment by her father, Johnny Sarkeesian. She said in an interview in 1975 that it was more of a paternal bond of protection. Her mother even thought Sonny looked exactly like Johnny. She doesn't think telling her daughter about it would have changed anything because, quote, when a girl is as much in love with a man as she was, not much can be done about it. Sonny's connection with Phil Spector got Cher backup gigs on a few songs, such as You've Lost That Loving Feeling and Be My Baby. He felt she could be a solo artist, but performed with her to ease her nerves. That was when the biggest success of their career came along. Sonny wrote I Got You Babe, and their performance of it in 1965 became a major hit. He also created other songs for them, such as The Beat Goes On in 1967. They continued to have a personal relationship as they created hits and had a faux wedding in 1964 before officially getting married in '69. She let him take the lead and later thought there was a bit of hero worship going on. Sonny and Cher splitting apart. Devotion wasn't enough to keep their relationship going. Changes in their career and personal life strained it beyond repair. Their music was no longer popular by the end of the 60s. Sonny's self-funded 1969 film Chastity starred Cher but was a major flop. They knew they had to drum up money when they had a child in 1969. Fortunately, they landed a lounge act where the cracks in their relationship began to show. Cher delivered put-downs to and about Sonny. That evolved into the Sonny and Cher Comedy Hour. It was a major hit that ended with them singing I Got You Babe at the end of each episode. Infidelity on both sides seeped in. Cher once said that, quote, one woman or even 5 wasn't enough for her husband. She was also tired of his overly protective nature. She then got involved with the guitarist of their band in 1972. These revelations didn't put an immediate end to their marriage, though. They wanted to keep the Sonny and Cher show and their public image as a couple going, but couldn't if they split up. Instead, they chose to stay married but find other partners who they even lived with. Sonny wrote in his diary on August 21, 1973, that he was living with a woman named Connie as husband and wife, but that his public wife was Cher. She accepted it and said they had a weird relationship she didn't expect anyone to understand. Sonny and Cher filed for separation in February of 1974. She demanded a divorce and compared her marriage to involuntary servitude. That was when she realized how much of her money he was earning. He'd formed a corporation called Cher Enterprises for them. 95% of it was owned by him, and the rest went to their lawyer. She had also signed a restrictive contract that made it impossible for her to take jobs without him. When she discovered this, she wanted out. They came to a deal for her to participate in over $1 million worth of additional shows and appearances to end it. Sonny and Cher finalized their divorce June 26, 1975. It was a difficult case where she accused him of withholding earnings and he filed for custody of their child. She married Greg Allman of the Allman Brothers Band a few days later, but that marriage ended almost as quickly as it began. Cher and Sonny both tried to make their own shows and work together on the Sonny and Cher show, but they couldn't make them into hits. They finally found their footing eventually. Cher became the music and acting icon she is today. Sonny opened a restaurant, the opening of which she attended in 1983. That didn't keep their gripes about each other out of the public ear. She said her time after leaving him was her happiest, and he claimed she was acting like a victim. They did reunite on the David Letterman show for one last performance of I Got You Babe in 1987. Sonny's death. Sonny Bono died in a tragic skiing accident at age 62 on January 5, 1998. He was visiting the Heavenly Ski Resort on the Nevada-California border with his wife, son, and daughter. They were skiing alone for a few hours until they reported him missing, and his body was found slammed into a tree. The cause of death was massive head injuries. Cher was devastated. She attempted to draft a eulogy to, quote, repair all the damage and misconceptions about him. It touched everyone at his funeral on January 9th. It was difficult for her to think of him as being gone. She even contacted a medium after the fact who assured her he still loved her. Who is Mary Bono? Understanding Cher's lawsuit against Sonny's wife requires understanding who she is. She's a major political figure, but not one the typical person may know. Mary was born October 24, 1961. She married Sonny in 1986. They had 2 children, Shazar and Shiana. The family moved to Palm Springs. That's where he served as mayor from 1988 to 92 before being elected to the House of Representatives in 1994. Mary was elected to Congress in 1998 to replace Sonny after his death. She served for 15 years until losing re-election in 2012. She began a relationship with Brian Prout in 1998, but they were never married. She did marry businessman Glenn Baxley in 2001, but they got divorced 4 years later. She married Congressman Connie Mack in 2007, but they separated in 2013. She's been married to Stephen Oswald since September 2015. The lawsuit. Sonny never wrote up a will about his wishes for the estate or for the rights to the hit songs he helped create. An agreement was eventually reached to split it between his 2 oldest children and his widow Mary. That didn't end the legal battles. Cher came in with a claim after his death that she never received alimony after their divorce in 1974. She argued she was entitled to 50% of the estate. That led to the court disputes that are still raging 25 years after his death. Mary claimed termination rights under the Federal Copyright Act. That let her keep control of Sonny's music and the royalties to his hit songs. Cher fought back with a $1 million suit 5 years later. She wanted to validate her original divorce agreement with Sonny. In her opinion, it includes language that said she was entitled to 50% of the royalties regardless of copyright ownership. Mary argued that termination rights superseded any previous agreements, including divorce settlements. The judge dismissed the part of her lawsuit that involves royalties from recording deals that Mary terminated. They related to record deals that no longer exist. What is unclear is that which of Mary's termination notices went to existing record companies or to publishers. The judge feels both sides need to present more convincing evidence and arguments before an agreement can be reached. Now it's time to hear from you. Were you devastated when Sonny and Cher broke up? Let us know in the comments section below.